Okay, so summation. We hate our premiers. Next. And
We hate
our
our premiers.
prime ministers.
That's it.
Next.
All right. I also have a sort of political story. It's from the Neurological blog. There was a study done by somebody named researcher Justin Murphy. I don't have like an official organization that he was working with, but he aggregated a bunch of various surveys discussing free speech and self-identified political views.
Oh.
So the key findings were that tolerance of free speech has been on the rise over the last 40 or so years. 1972 to 2016 was when he looked at this data. So tolerance of free speech has been on the incline.
Did it end on the incline?
What's that?
Did it end on an incline?
Yes.
Okay, good.
People who identify as extreme liberals are actually the most supportive of free speech.
Yeah.
College or university education correlates with higher tolerance of free speech. So, more educated, more tolerant of free speech. And the most intolerant group are the non-college educated, and they are the least tolerant of speech from anti-American Muslims. This is, of course, an American survey or American data. So I will provide a link to, of course, this article as well as the original survey. And they took a look at a range of people from extremely liberal to all the way to like from, I think there was
Nazis.
3, 6, 7 categories in between extremely liberal and extremely conservative. And they looked at how they viewed these speakers from different groups like communists, militarists, racists, homosexuals, and anti-theists. And for all of the groups, tolerance of all types of speakers has gone up from 1972 until 2016. For nearly all the groups except extremely conservative, racist speech was the least tolerated speech. Extremely conservative balanced that out. They viewed racist speech as bad as communist speech or militarist speech. I'm not entirely sure on the definition of militarist. I couldn't really find it within the articles. But basically, the narrative that college campuses are anti-free speech, this data contradicts that narrative.
Of course it does.
Well, it isn't college kids who want Sweet Jesus to change their name. Right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I wrote a bunch of stuff here, but...
It's not college kids who are offended when you say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas.
No, it is not, is it?
No.
Wonder who that group is. The non-college educated, extremely conservative folks, perhaps? I talked about this a bit in a video I did a long time ago, about a year ago now. And there's like 4,700 college campuses in the U.S. And they've had, in 2017, they had about 20 incidents that turned violent. And there's no way to really, I couldn't find any numbers on the total number of invited speakers, but there was 19, according to thefire.org, which is a libertarian think tank that measures disinvitations. 19 speakers got disinvited to speak on college campuses. Some of those were from the right. Most of those were from the left, but almost all of them were viewed as racist speech. So, I mean, the data kind of supports the same thing where like racist speech, no matter where it's coming from, seems to be the least favored speech, and almost all people are anti that.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
That was my article. It's not a really deep one. I mean, Steve Novella kind of wrote this, and he went into like confirmation bias, and he talked about why people view this. And it was all stuff I kind of already thought. Like, of course, the
confirmation bias.
the media covers the thing that is coverable. They don't cover peaceful protest. They don't cover people who go and get invited to speak and go speak there,
The media
and nothing
also
happens.
doesn't give you a statistically relevant distribution of what's going on. Like,
Right.
if they happen to cover, I mean, humans are humans. There's going to be people who try to shut down speakers that are on college campus, but there's going to be people who are going to shut down speakers in a church or in a, I don't know, a 4-H meeting or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's just going to happen everywhere. That's natural. That's human.
Yeah.
But if the media covers it more in one place or another, it's going to make it seem that it's happening more in one place or another than it actually is.
Exactly. So people are noticing and seeing one thing, and they're not seeing just everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
This feels like a good point to insert the definition of censorship. It's not just because if a place won't host you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not censorship if the university doesn't want to host you. It's not censorship if you can't get your conference at a hotel. It's not censorship if nobody wants to interview you.
I mean, and it might suck.
Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just, it's not censorship, so please stop calling it censorship.
Right.
I mean, I don't generally agree with a group on campus inviting a speaker and then having other student groups protest till that speaker can't talk. Like, I don't, unless it's really extreme, I don't personally, I don't know. I'd rather make less noise about what's that guy, that blonde guy, Yiannopoulos or whatever.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
I'd rather make less noise about his bullshit and just ignore it, like whatever, than make a big fuss over it. I personally, like, that's my sense, and just
let him slide away
unless
into
it's like
irrelevance.
really, really like over the top. Like, unless it's like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know who should knock. I mean, even like a Holocaust denier, like, let them say their shit because it just sounds stupid. Like, nobody's going to, you know what I mean? Like, let it just, like, everyone's like, I don't know. There's not a lot that I would, but.
The interesting thing I thought was about, Yiannopoulos is that, like, he had 100% support when he was saying anti-trans stuff and and racist stuff in front of, conservatives were all on board with that. And then as soon as he was like pro-pedophile stuff, it's like, okay, well, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to let you speak at our convention now.
Unless it's bishops.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had pro-pedophile stuff?
Well,
Basically.
yeah, in a sense.
He didn't have speeches about it, did he? He had an old interview of his came out where it's like he had a transformative experience as a youth with a pastor.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it wasn't a pastor.
It was an older gentleman.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's something to do with the church, though. There was something.
Yeah, there
I
might
can't
have
remember
been
the
something
I can't remember the
involved there.
connection, but
Okay, then.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I
basically.
feel like stupid ideas are just going to seem stupid and like dumb shit. Everyone's just gonna be like, oh.
The trouble is, though, that a lot of people just grab onto those stupid ideas because, Peter Coffin said it well in the interview I did with him. It was like, attention is what wins the market of ideas. So if you get a lot of attention, then people are paying attention to what you're saying. And
mind you, that is also the fire you play with, though. If you start banning them,
then they get more attention in a lot of cases.
And it's a question of, I mean, it got to be a question of scale too. I mean, okay, fine. You say, oh, well, we don't want you to get any attention, so you're not going to be able to come on our college campus and speak to 300 people. But are you not aware the internet exists and you can write something or post a video that millions of people are going to see, right? Like, it's just.
And then if you get banned, then they go, oh, you want to see the speech that got banned at Berkeley?
Right.
Particularly,
click.
Yeah, it's particularly when you're talking, when you say, my speech got banned. This is a free speech issue. Like, that's really a big deal in some circles.
But even if nobody knows your speech got banned, you still have the ability to have a way bigger audience than you're ever going to have at a university, with the internet. I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Arguably, does the university give you legitimacy? Maybe, but universities are all about having dissenting views coming.
The interesting thing, though, is, I mean, no universities are entertaining creationists. You know, and a lot of some of these views are like
they're just Christian universities.
Yeah, that's right. But then, like, I mean, so a lot of these things that are getting promoted are being like, okay, well, so the racist guy is being suppressed. Like,
I think it's cool to have the guy. I mean, a creationist wants to come to university and talk. Cool. But I'm going to show up and be like, why is this argument sucks for this, that, and the other reason? What do you have to say about that? And that's fine. Like, it's my free speech is also allowed.
Actually, there was a science organization that had like anti-vaxxers booked for a speech or something in their hall. And then a bunch of pro-science advocates were like, hey, this is ridiculous. How can you be letting this anti-vaxxer speak at your place? Mm-hmm. So then they turned it off, and like it was no publicity at all, really. Like, it was just like one of those things that was like, it happened.
Sorry, so who was hosting the anti-vaxxers?
It was an organization was hosting anti-vaxxers at this science hall or something, like a place that was associated with science, like a science center or something.
See, I could actually see that because, you know, you have an idea of what your audience is, where it's like setting them up for a horrendous round of questioning.
Maybe.
But that's my take on it.
Also, when we, a couple of years ago, when the CFI had their Darwin Day thing at the Science Center, they're a community organization. They're nonprofit.
Right.
So they have to be very careful to be neutral.
Right.
So to
keep their nonprofit status.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think there was a question. They had to be particular about how they hosted different events.
Yeah. It's interesting in a sense, because being anti-racism is considered a leftist position. Like, how is, like, I don't really get how that's a thing.
Yeah.
Because it depending on how you levy them, left, right actually has tones of being pro status quo to anti status quo.
Yeah.
The status quo is essentially a quote unquote racial hierarchy.
But there is no racism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's just such a weird thing. Like, the way people place these things on political spectrum seems really out of whack to me.
I just, on a similar another talk about spectrum, I find it amusing. We've in the last few months, years now, we can actually put like names on how bad a person's sexual perversity is. It's like the Weinsteins versus the Krauses.
Right.
It's like, you're not Weinstein bad. You're not even Cosby bad.
But you're Krause-ish.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Cosby's way worse than Weinstein.
So much worse.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Actually, yeah.
That's the red.
Weinstein being at the bottom of the list.
Well, I'd say it goes Cosby, Weinstein, Krause, Ansari.
Yeah, Ansari's kind of like, just like a, don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't be that guy.
Oh, sorry, I missed one. Sorry. What did I say? Cosby. Yeah, I was going to say Cosby, Weinstein, Ghomeshi, then Krause. Significant, below.
Bill Cosby has announced after his thing that he was going to go on a speaking tour discussing the dangers of unjust accusations.
Oh God.
So, I hope he loses money.
That's a thing, I guess.
I hope he loses money on this, or the promoters lose money on this.
I do too.
So I doubt it. Anyway, I don't know.
You know, I read somewhere that Bill Cosby was going blind. I didn't realize he was going deaf too. Like, holy fuck.